Welcome to Running Your Stories with Kim Kennedy. We've just been out for a nice run here on the Marsden Moor estate on a nice foggy day. What do you think, Kim?
Yes, I've enjoyed it. It's been fun, very foggy, but I've definitely enjoyed it.
Right, well, we'll get into Running Your Stories Studio 2, which is where we're going now, and record the episode. Thanks.
Okay, see you in a bit.
Hello and welcome to episode 15 of Running Your Stories. In this episode I'm joined by the amazing Kim Kennedy. Kim is somebody who I met just over a year ago running the White Rose Ultra, which was my first ultra, not Kim's first. She finished some time ahead of me, and I was interested to follow how she trained and see if I could learn from that and see how I could get better. Since then we've become friends, kept in contact, followed each other's progress over the last year, and Kim has had a truly phenomenal year through very dedicated training, which she tells us all about. So we'll go through Kim's year and Kim's training, and then we'll move on to the reason why Kim runs. And this is a very heartfelt, deep story where Kim talks about the tragic death of her husband and how she turned to running to help her through some very difficult times. And through running, Kim has been able to find out who she is, and running has enabled Kim to be the person that she was, that she couldn't show before she started running. So it's a really interesting story. It's a story I've been waiting quite a while to share with you all. I'm really pleased that Kim came over to see me today so that we could put this together for you. So let's get on with the show. Thank you. Welcome, Kim Kennedy.
Hi.
Hi. Thank you very much for coming along today. I've been chasing you to get your story recorded since we very first started doing this podcast. So I'm really happy that you've come over, and we've just been for a nice little run in the beautiful scenic countryside.
We have. Very foggy.
Yeah. So as we were just discussing, I thought we'd start off talking about the amazing year that you've been having with your running.
Yeah.
So
it's been an interesting year.
Yeah, I was looking up some of your results last night just to be prepared, but it's probably best if you start running through it, and then.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think where it started this year. My first event. Obviously I wanted to do the Oldham Way, but I couldn't do the Oldham Way because I got stuck in the snow trying to get over here and spending many hours on the motorway. And then, trying to think what came. Was it the...
Probably was your Liverpool to Manchester.
Yeah, it was my Liverpool to Manchester. I didn't actually do any events leading up to that. So it was Liverpool to Manchester, which was the 100 miler. Obviously I was running that event for charity.
So that was your first.
Yeah, that was April. Yeah. My first 100 mile, my first event really for this year.
Yeah.
My first 100 mile ended up being 105 miles. So I had a few extra miles on getting lost, which is nothing new for me. There was a lot of hard training leading up to that. I used to do quite a lot of back-to-back runs, so there's time off work to obviously try and squeeze those runs in.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that's always interested me that I've wanted to talk to you about as well. Is we met on the White Rose Ultra in 2017, and you finished 5 or 10 minutes ahead of me. And I started following on Strava all the people that finished ahead of me to see how different people train, and I noticed your training was very focused, shall we say. Do you want to elaborate on what your training consists of?
I mean, I run every day. Most people know that I run every day. I shouldn't run every day, I know that, but I do like to run. And I've got a 4-year-old daughter, so I've got to try and fit my training around her. So a lot of my trainings are like 4 o'clock, 4:30 in the morning, to try and obviously squeeze that in around being a mum and full-time work as well. So leading up to the 100 mile I was training, I was doing like 80 to 100 mile weeks at times. which did obviously include the back-to-back runs. I do squeeze in some strength work as well in between that, but again it's home based. So I use kettlebells. I do use spinning as well now. I did try a bit of yoga at times, but probably should do more of that.
Yeah, so I mean there's a couple of things that you mentioned there that's probably worth elaborating on. One is you mentioned in your words that you probably shouldn't run every day. Now I think my understanding of this is that if and when your body's conditioned to it, there's nothing wrong with running every day. I think the intensity that you run at every day matters. You wouldn't want to run hard every day. I think that's I think we'd agree on that. But yeah, I think I can't run every day. Maybe next year, maybe the year after I'll be able to, but I haven't been running long enough to run every day. So it's definitely something I noticed when I started following your training. Is you're training every day, and those 4 a.m, 4:30 a.m. starts on your training, they are legendary amongst people.
Most people say crazy.
But yeah, I mean that's real dedication. So.
It's the only way I can fit it in.
Yeah.
I do tell people that when they say why do you train at that time in the morning? That's the only way I can squeeze it in.
Yeah, well, I guess one question I've wanted to ask you about that is, so what time do you go to bed? About 8 p.m?
No, not quite. I'm usually getting into bed around 9 o'clock, and then I'll faff around for a bit. I'm usually asleep by about 9:30.
Yeah.
So once over, I probably needed 8-9 hours sleep. Now I can survive quite happily off 6.5, 7 hours sleep. Yeah. So I feel okay with that.
Yeah, that's tough. I couldn't do that on a continuous basis. But it's a very focused training regime, and very disciplined. But it certainly yields results. Yeah. So you went into your first 100 mile.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us a little about the event itself?
It was okay. Obviously, I'd taken advice from some people, Alan being one of them, saying you can't set off and run 8-minute miles, which obviously I do like to run that kind of pace when I'm doing events. So I set off around 10-11-minute miles, and I felt quite happy with that. I obviously met some people along the way. I ran with some people I already knew. Rosie and Nicola, both of those didn't end up finishing the 100 mile, unfortunately, due to various reasons. And I ran some of it by myself. I probably felt okay till about 50-60 miles, probably running about that pace. In fact, Angela and Alan actually popped up around that time as well, and they ran a few miles, and that was quite nice. It was good weather as well, so yeah, it felt fine. It felt okay. Yeah. It felt good.
So this was the Liverpool to Manchester.
Yeah, Liverpool to Manchester.
Double.
Yeah. So nice and flat.
Yeah, on the canal from
Liverpool
into Manchester and back again.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was looking at your Strava again last night from that event, and I noticed that, as you say, your pace was very, very consistent, probably for the first 50 or so miles. And then, because one of the questions that I've always had about that kind of event is how your pace is. Yeah. Because for myself, on my long events, I've paced it by walking the hills. Yeah. And I guess your overall speed comes down, although you can run at a kind of a more comfortable pace. But I noticed later on your speed sort of graph on your Strava is lots of little humps almost, where you're running a bit and then walking a bit, running, walking. Yeah. So what was that, running about a mile, was it, and then walking a bit? Or?
I just kind of did it, because then obviously my sister-in-law, she came, I had a few people who did help me overnight. I didn't expect them to run overnight with me, actually popped up again later on, which I didn't know about, it was really, really nice surprise. From about 6-7 miles I did have a bit of support, but then it was just a case of, I'll run when I feel okay to run, and I'll walk when I need a bit of a rest. And I didn't particularly feel tired because my legs were battered really from running on the flat. Yeah. So like you said, walk up the hills. What do you do? I've not really set a plan of what I was going to do. I'm just going to run it. Most people do have plans of longer distances, but I don't really go into something. I don't overthink it. really.
Yeah. Well,
It's kind of worked for me.
Yeah, well, that's probably a good thing, to be honest. I overthink everything. So.
And I remember before on people posting on the GB Ultras website, there was a statistic about how many people don't finish hundreds, and they were like, I've not even considered that. I'm not going to finish it. I hope I finish it.
I have to admit, I overthink things, but I also don't consider not finishing.
So I was like, my mindset is I will have to finish it. I have to crawl this thing. I'll have to finish it.
Unfortunately, I'm sure we'll both be in it one day, but
no, well, and there's
yeah. I was just asking about that pace and on the later part, because I don't know if you've recently looked back on the score, but it's really, really consistent. Right. These, I see there's like little humps up and down all the way along on the graph, and it looks really planned, and it's so consistent. It's very impressive.
No, not at all.
So
I think the end was more just due to my legs just kind of giving up a little bit. Yeah. Physically, I felt fine, and not particularly tired because I'm used to running at such early times and not having much sleep.
Yeah.
And I did do one of the overnight records as well. So I had kind of got used to running overnight and not sleeping during the day as well. So.
But so on your first 100 miler, I believe you placed on that as well.
Yeah, I did. Came second. Quite a long way behind the first female though. Mel is just amazing. I mean, she did like 17 hours. She was trained by Charlie Sharp, so just like crazy times.
Yeah. But
4 hours faster.
Yeah, but you also it was 21 hours something, so sub 24 hours.
Yeah.
Second.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really an incredible result. It's one of my long-term dreams is to run 100 miles in less than 24 hours. And you did it on your...
I mean, the thing is, I were aiming for the 24 hours, and I think it would probably not lost my way a little bit. My mind was then set, am I going to make 120? But then obviously I did lose my way a little bit, so obviously I did the 5-6 mile one, and I thought, could have probably just squeezed in below 20. But no, I didn't make it.
Yeah, so good start to the year.
Yeah, it were a good start to the year.
Yeah. So, what was your next?
Trying to fix. Obviously, then I think probably the Pennine Barrier was the next one. I don't think. So I've not done any road marathons this year. So yeah, it would have been the Pennine Barrier in June.
So that was a 50-mile ultra.
Yeah. Very different to what I'm obviously used to.
You were telling me earlier that it was more technical than what you used to.
Yeah. I have walked the 3 peaks before. I've walked it a couple of times, so obviously I had some idea of what to expect. And I went out and did a training run, probably not that many weeks before the Pennine Barrier 50. So obviously, very different.
Yeah. So in fact, your training run, that was the 3 peaks route, wasn't it? You did in like 5.5 hours, I think. And,
Good weather for that though. It was gorgeous that day.
Yeah. That's good going. It's good. So yeah, how do you find that running on the more technical terrain?
I don't find the going uphill I'm not too bad with. It's the going downhill I really struggle with that. I'm very clumsy, so I'm known to fall off of my own feet. So it was interesting going on the downhill because people were just always in past me. But I really enjoyed the event. It's probably the best event that I've done this year, just because of the challenge. Yeah. Mentally and physically.
Yeah, I can relate to that. The challenge of getting well outside your comfort zone, and that's why we sign up to these these things, isn't it? Yeah. And you still didn't get a bad result on that, considering you were struggling with some of the terrain and things. So was it 5th place on that?
Yeah, I did, 5th female,
Yeah, so another cracking result considering it's...
Couldn't walk at the end of it, but my quads were absolutely battered.
Yeah. And then what was it after that? With trail marathon, or was there something else?
I'm trying to think, that was August.
Yeah.
Yeah, Whitworth Trail would have been next.
Yeah. Nice event. So
I really enjoyed that. Yeah, because
I had a run around that route,
you
checking the
flags
beforehand. Yeah, really nice route actually.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. It's not a million miles away from where I live, but I haven't run on that part. I've obviously Rosendale way up that way. But yeah, really enjoyed it. The weather wasn't great. In fact, it reminded me of the Oldham Way Ultra last year. It was just rainy, it was foggy, it was windy.
Yeah.
Wasn't particularly nice, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah. And another podium finish.
Yeah. Came second female in that one.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. And then was it into White Rose after that?
No, I did the
else?
oh yeah, a bit more relaxed though. Allsway, up the Allsway Way Challenger event I did. So that's from my NAV 4. That was in October. So that was different for me as well. Because obviously it's up in the lakes. I have spent time walking up in the lakes, but never run up there. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. It was just nice to go into something with no kind of like worry about, oh, I need to do this and I need to do that. It's just chilled out. It's a running walking event. So yeah, that was different.
Yeah, I've done a few of those kinds of events myself this year. And as you say, it is. You can't start to put pressure on yourself about the performance and take away some of the fun.
So I enjoyed that. I probably shouldn't have done the challenge a bit because luckily I managed to keep hold of some felmers in front of me, but I wouldn't have had a clue where I was going. I knew it was foggy, the weather wasn't great again. So, but yeah, I enjoyed it. It was different.
So you're preparing for your New Year's resolution of learning to navigate.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, and then it was White Rose. Yeah. Which I was supposed to be doing the 60, and the week before I signed up for the 100. I know,
because we talked a little bit about running together for chunks of the 60. Yeah. We ran a bit together on the back end of the first lap, wasn't it?
I actually said after doing the White Rose 30 last year that I would never do that league more than once. Then I signed up for the 60, then I went for the 100.
Yeah. So yeah, I found after 2 loops I'd had enough. I was quite pleased. I just signed up for the 60, and yeah, you were still waiting to go out on your 3rd loop at that point.
Yeah. Were you still there when we were in Minoran and we were going back out? Yeah. Yeah, because obviously when I got into the end of the 2nd loop, somebody was supposed to meet me there who was running with me, but she'd messaged me and said she weren't coming, which I didn't know about because I switched my phone onto aeroplane mode. I always do that with the longer distance, just try and concentrate myself as well. So when I got back into the event centre, I think mentally that it impacted on me quite a lot really because she wasn't there. She had ill health, so I've not got an issue with that. But mentally I just thought, I'm again, no problem running the door, but I just thought, can I actually go back out? So obviously there was me and Will was faffing around as well, like, I don't know if I'm going back out. We obviously decided to go back out. I was like, a bit of blackmail there. I was like, well, if you're not going out, I'm not going back out. But we managed to get out and went through the door together. We stayed together. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, that was an incredible one. Because when you and I were running together in the first lap, you stopped because of cramp.
Oh, real sure. I never had cramp before on runs, never ever. And at first I thought I pulled something in my leg, and then I got it on my other one. I was like, this is what cramp must feel like. So I did it for about 33 miles. And I struggled because if you noticed when I was going down, I had to walk. It was on the downhills I was fine at any other point, so it kind of eased on the flat, and then when I was going back up I was fine. But on the downhills, people were running past me. I was like, I can't run down the hill.
So which muscles was the cramp?
Down here.
Right.
Yeah, down here. Yeah. And then I had a bit of cheese. Obviously on the first, when we got round to obviously the headquarters at the first point, I had a bit of cheese and some more food, and then it just seemed to go. So about 33 miles, I said I had that far enough. Yeah. But when I got to the first checkpoint, I think it was around 8-9 miles, I was like, I'm going to have to give up here. I don't think I'm going to keep going. But I did.
Yeah, I think it's something that kind of comes with experience in ultras, is that everybody has a low point where you think you can't continue. I nearly DNF'd from that race.
Really?
I was about 2 miles from the finish of the 60, and I was about half a mile from my house.
Really?
And I nearly just came home. I'd had enough. My head wasn't in the right place to, you just need to keep pushing, don't you? Yeah. And it's so unusual that, there's so few big events that close to home. To be half a mile from your house and you think, I could just go home now and just go to sleep. It was really, really, really tough. I kind of got lucky that there was another guy who was supposed to be running the 100, Neil, who had an injury, and he decided he had to drop out at the 60 mark.
Yeah.
But he didn't know the route, and I saw him go the wrong way twice in the dark. So then we stuck together. So he pushed me on a bit, and I guided him. So it was actually a really good partnership. I really enjoyed running with him. We ran together quite a lot on that second lap. And yeah, I say we really helped each other, which was great, and stayed in touch. And he'll be listening to this. He's a good fan of the show now. So,
and that's the thing, isn't it? It's like who you meet on the way. Because I already met Will before. I mean, we ran, well, I say 40 miles. It was over 40 miles. We went it together at the end. We kind of kept each other going. But even when Will set out, it was like, I don't think I'm going to finish this. There was still in the mindset, I'm not going to finish. You know, when we get to checkpoint, I'm going to ask Fiona if she can take over. But he did finish it. And he, you know, you have those low points there.
Yeah, you do, and it's amazing. Like it's about the people you meet and the way you feed off each other's energy. And I know I've been in races where it feels like somebody's like hanging on, sort of feeding off your energy, but at some point you then have a low point, and the roles are reversed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it always seems to even out. Yeah.
I mean, I think one of the hardest things for me about on that third loop was the pace, because obviously Will had obviously set off quite fast as well. And I think he was kind of gutted going into that second loop because he wanted to go quicker, and I knew that last loop was going to be slower than I'm used to. But there was no way my legs were going any quicker, because again my quads were absolutely knackered. I was struggling to lift my feet up. Towards the last 10-20 miles, but I wanted to finish it. I weren't giving up.
I mean, we should probably explain to anybody that doesn't know about the White Rose Ultra. It's a very hilly route.
Yeah, it is. But there's a lot on tarmac, isn't there, and concrete as well.
It's a very non-technical route, though. It's maybe 35-40% trail, but it's really friendly trails. A lot on tarmac, but very, very hilly. The two parts that I find the toughest are two steep descents on tarmac. I find it takes a lot out of my legs, the steep descents on tarmac. But it's like I was always comparing it to I'd done the Hardmoor 60 about 6 weeks before it, and there's more ascent in the White Rose than there is in the Hardmoors, and it's just trying to think how much.
Did it end up about 19,000 feet? Was it something like that?
Yeah, it'll be in that.
I mean, my watch went off about 100 because I ended up doing around 110, but I think my watch went off about 103, 104.
Yeah,
I think it came off about.
I think for the 60 that I did, and I work in meters rather than feet. It was just under 5,000 meters. Right. I think if I get this right, which is about the same ascent as on the 100-mile spine race, on the 60 mile of that. I think it's just it's a little bit less, but there's, the White Rose is very hilly, specifically to make it tough, because it is a nice area around here where we are. We're actually, like I say, within half a mile of the route here, and it's a nice area, but it doesn't compare to like the Lake District or Wales or Scotland or something like that. So we know Wayne, the race director, he tries to put something extra into the route by making it hilly and tough, and it's not to be underestimated.
No, not at all.
It's a friendly route.
It's tough, and you can see that.
I don't quite understand how somebody can get lost and run extra miles. Less said about that, the better, maybe.
Well, unfortunately, some people followed me on the little bridge.
Yeah, but
so we ended up doing, I think that was 4 miles there. The route was a little bit longer, though. The loop was obviously longer, slightly. Yes,
that's something that Wayne had. It's potentially partly my fault, because when I did we both did the 30 in 2017. And I know when I did that, it was 30 miles as advertised, but it was just short of 50k.
Right.
And I remember being slightly disappointed because some people define an ultra marathon as being 50k
Really?
upwards,
Right.
which is about 31
Yeah,
miles.
yeah.
And I had been nagging Wayne a little, saying that Wayne, you really shouldn't call it an ultra if it's less than 50k. And lo and behold, it's now more than 50k.
There's a lot of swearing going on from some people that day. Take 100 miles.
Yeah, so
I'm giving up now.
I can't take the blame for it. The race director will do what the race director does, but yeah. Yeah.
No, I think and there was one of the night sections one. It was on one of the roads you were showing me today, on the main roads. I totally missed the sound, but I think that was just because I was so busy concentrating. And that I was by myself on a road, just in the dark, that I just need to keep going. And then somebody whistled, and I thought, I'm sure they're whistling. And then I realised that I'd gone off, so I came back up, back up the road.
Yeah, after it is a route that I know very well.
Yeah.
I live around here, and I can get out and wreck you at any time. But yeah, it's a nice route, picturesque.
There's actually another event I've done this year which I forgot about, Ladybower 50.
Yes.
Forgot about that one.
Yeah.
That was September. Yeah, it was September. That in between injury.
Yeah. So how did you do on the Ladybower 50?
First female on that
First female on that one.
Yeah, that was. I was in a little bit of pain towards the end, because obviously you know that I've suffered with plantar fasciitis, so I had another set of cortisone injection 2 days before that event, so I was literally not walking on the Saturday, but still thought it was a good idea to run it on the Sunday. So I put my light bandage on, which my physio advised me I could use, and obviously I just got on with it.
Yeah, and then just I guess rounding off the White Rose, that was also first female.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
What was your total time on that?
I think it came to like 27 hours. Yeah.
Yeah.
So longest I've been on my feet. Again, couldn't walk afterwards.
What was because it was well over 100 miles in the end, wasn't it?
I did around 110. My watch knocked off just before.
Yeah.
So it's the furthest I've run and the longest I've been on my feet.
Yeah, and it's nice and hilly. It's probably about the same kind of ascent as the Lakeland 100 for that. I think it's similar amount of ascent. So
I think it's probably around the same as Penarm Barrier as well. I think at the 100. I haven't looked at the elevation on the 50. So I remember doing the little video I did, and I remember saying I don't think I'm ready to do the Penarm Barrier. When I looked at the elevator, I think it's different because obviously you've got bits of climbing in, or what I call climbing. But I think when I looked at it, I think the elevation was very, very similar.
Yeah, but then I think in some ways, because it's all pros and cons, because again I keep comparing between the White Rose 60 that I did and the Hardmoor 60, and in some ways you can go faster on the White Rose because it's tarmac, and you can go faster on tarmac, but when you're getting up to the really long distances, the impact starts to build up and the pain starts to build up from the tarmac compared to the trail. It doesn't hurt anywhere near as much. So it's never a direct comparison.
No.
It's a tough event. So.
No, it is a tough event. I won't be doing the 100 next year. Sorry, Wayne. I will be doing the 60, so I've gone from the 30 to 100. I will do the 60, and I'm going to support some people on the 10-mile loop. At the end.
There was a couple of guys had to go at the unofficial 150, wasn't there?
One guy did finish it on, didn't he?
Yes. Ricardo.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, and
crazy because he was sleeping. I think when I was coming back in from that 60, I was just like crazy.
Yeah, and another person who's been on this podcast, Carl Howells, he was the other that tried it and dropped out. Although Carl has done Spartathlon again this year.
Really? Wow.
He's a serious runner. Yeah, but it's a great event. I like the White Rose because with it being a local event, I end up knowing loads of people. I probably knew a dozen people that were doing their first ultra on that event, and it was so nice to talk to them, even just a little bit. The only thing that was slightly disappointing is because I finished my loop and then went out for another loop, I therefore didn't see any of them finish because they finished while I was out on my second loop. But it was so good to see basically lots of local friends
Yeah.
were doing their first ultra. A few people that'll be interesting to have on the show. Actually, there's a few. Well, there's a lot of interesting stories.
Yeah.
Great stories.
It is definitely a good first ultra because you don't really have to navigate. She says he gets lost.
Yeah, I mean,
but it is.
Yeah, I mean, when you're running up near the front like yourself, then there's not many people ahead of you to follow.
Yeah,
but for the main pack, I think it's really quite straightforward because there's lots of signs and lots of people to follow as well, and it's a good, very friendly event.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
That's what I like about it. Really, it's just seeing dozens of people that you know and chatting.
It's a little bit before because I always like to get to these events like the Team Aware ones early because I like to catch up with people I don't get to see. It's the only time I get to see some of these people, so it's great really.
Yeah. So it's a really incredible year of running. Really, you must be very, very proud of yourself.
I am, because it's more than I've obviously had to achieve this year.
Yeah.
I know we had a chat when we were running about people being competitive and people just presume I am, but I'm really not. To myself I am, because I'll kind of go into an event with a time, but I'm quite relaxed about the time because I don't like pressurising myself. Because I think if I did pressurise myself, I'm more likely to drop out. But if somebody runs past me, I've got no interest in trying to keep up. I'm there to run my own event. What other people are doing, I've got no interest in.
That's a really good philosophy because as we were talking when we were just running around, that's something I've had to learn. That I've been caught up in chasing people, and it hurts.
It does.
And now I've started doing my own things at my own pace and get better results.
Absolutely.
So,
I like talking when I do events as well. I like meeting new people and I do. I know I should probably just be running, but I like talking.
Well, I mentioned the last episode we did with Rachel Ross-Russell. She talks continuously. She's well known for it. She won't mind me saying it. The whole 12 hours something she was running on the Hardmore 60 she was chatting.
Really? Keeps you going, keeps your mind occupied.
Yeah. Because your mind's on the conversation, your legs just keep moving, the miles disappear. So that's your incredible year of 2018. And we said we were going to talk about where this started. Was it back in 2009?
My husband, he was sadly killed in a road traffic collision. So we'd only been married for a year, but we've been together since we were 15. So obviously, everything we did we've kind of done together. I'd done a little bit of running before that. I'd done like the Great North Run the year before because I like to raise money for charity. So I had done a little bit of running, but my running really took off from 2009.
So what was that? Something to fill the time, or?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit was about. I know that people didn't know what to say to me, so at that time I was off work as well. So just because obviously I worked well enough to go back to work, which was obviously quite a stressful job. So for me, it was my way to get out to the Heights. I didn't want to be stuck in the Heights. I lived in York at the time, so I was away from my family, and both our families are from Lancashire. So I just used to get up really early, which I think is where the early morning runnings come from as well. I get up really early in the dark and go for a run, just knowing that I'd been out and about. But I think it was for my emotional health as well. It just kind of gave me a sense, I suppose, some reflection, just time to get out and about and just kind of think about things.
Was it a conscious decision about going running, or just something you kind of fell into?
I'd always been fittish, so I'd done a bit of swimming at school, and I spent me and my husband both spent quite a bit of time in the gym, and we had done some walking and things. But I think it was just my way. It was the only thing I could control. I think was the running, and there were lots of things around that time that I couldn't control. So the inquest and what was going on with the police investigation, I just couldn't control at all. So for me, running was about. This is the only thing I can do and I can control it. So,
I can definitely relate to the sort of control element. I find it a very healthy control
Yeah.
from the point of view. Obviously, sometimes people end up with eating disorders because they're trying to control something in their life, which can become very destructive. And running does become destructive for some people, mainly when you get too focused on the competitive side, which is where it's actually very interesting to hear that you're not competitive in that way. But yeah, there's the reason I was asking whether it was a conscious decision is because there's a lot of research being done into the health benefits of exercise, the health benefits of being outside, and then being outside exercise, and it is very much one of the ideal things that you can do to help your emotional and mental health in these kinds of situations. So
I think another thing for me though was about my identity, because obviously, like I said, I've been obviously together with Andrew since I was 15 years old, so everything we did together. So for me it was about, you know, I need to find me now, and I could run. I'd done a little bit of running but didn't know, obviously I was okay at it, so it was just about just finding me, and that was the way I did it, I think. You know, what do I look like outside of obviously what we had, and how am I going to survive, I suppose, as well.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you're definitely known as a runner now.
Hopefully.
Well, yeah. Yeah, as you say, I was reading something recently that was saying that it's not so much finding or searching for yourself as allowing yourself to be who you already were. And that seems to be the case, because in the year and a little bit that I've known you and sort of got to know you more, you definitely seem very, very much yourself when you're running. It's, you know, it does seem a key part of your identity, and being able to. I guess it's also because with running, it's something that builds as well. And so you can feel that, you know, once you've done a bit of running, you get a bit better at it, and you do a bit more and you get a bit better at it, and so the well-being builds. As long as you don't get caught up then to go over the top and then hurt yourself, and then things can fall apart. Which is something. In fact, the last two episodes have both been ladies called Rachel.
Okay.
They've both pushed the running too far at times, and then physically broken down, and it's then caused them mental health issues until they could get back into it. And in both cases it was due to getting caught up in this competitiveness, which is very easy to do, especially when you're as good as you are. It's you know, it's very easy to get caught up and carried away, and very, very healthy to keep doing what you're doing. So I guess it's through what happened with your husband and things that you then raise money for Break. Which I have to admit, I only know the charity through you. So do you want to tell us a little about Break as well?
Break are obviously quite a big charity. They're quite local because they are based in Huddersfield, but they do work for the government, and obviously campaign for road safety, but they also help families who've obviously been impacted through road traffic collisions as well. So I was in touch with Break quite early on after Andrew's death via the police, and I was linked in with a volunteer who had lost her parents for a road traffic collision. But also, like, you get like a pack which is quite expensive as well. It kind of explains the police investigation, the inquest. So that was really, really helpful for me. And they also spoke to quite a young girl on the phone who had lost her partner through a motorbike accident. So I found that really useful to speak to somebody, because what I struggled with at the time of Andrew's death were being so young, because I was 27, and most people you spoke to were like, well, I've lost this person, I've lost that person, and I find it really hard to relate because of my age. Like, I've got the rest of my life. We had it all planned out, we're having children, and we had where we were going to live, just like you do at that age. You just got married, you've got everything planned, haven't you? So for me, using that support and that charity was very, very, very useful. So yeah, and that's how the running came about really after that. Doing the longer distance and moving on. I managed to get some of Andrew's friends involved with it as well, so
yeah.
Yeah,
it's really good. It's something positive out of a very bad situation.
Yeah, I think when we did the running in 2000, I think it was 2011, we did quite a lot of them. We raised like £3,500–4,000 that year between us.
Yeah.
So it felt good. It felt good to give something back as well.
Yes.
So
as you say, it's really important to have these amazing volunteers there when you need them.
Yeah.
And you never expect to need people like that.
No.
Any of the people that volunteer at those kinds of organisations and things like the Samaritans is similar kinds of things. It's phenomenal. I mean, you'll know from your day job how tough it is dealing with these kinds of situations. And I've a lot of admiration for people that do that. I'm more for trying to help people physically, and it's actually because it's easier. You're still helping, so that's good. So if everybody helped a bit, life would be really much better. and so that's it's great. Some people are better at helping with the talking and that side of support, and other people are great at helping by donating lots of money, which is all brilliant as well. So I know you continue to support Break. And I do. Are you doing got any big fundraising things coming up?
I think the problem is once you raise those kind of amounts, is then trying to obviously not match it, but I think you feel like you're asking the same people to keep giving you money, so it does get harder. So that's why, I mean, obviously I raised money again this year by doing the first 100 mile. I don't know what I've got plans next. It's going to have to be something big, isn't it? I've run 100 miles. I never thought I'd run, but what's next?
I can relate to that. I've been through exactly the same with my own fundraising. Like you say, you do that big challenge. So.
Yeah. I mean, my sister-in-law, Andrew's sister, is running her first marathon next year, something which I didn't think she'd ever do, but she's doing it. And it's the 10-year, it would have been the 10-year anniversary next year from Andrew's death, so I am going to be running the marathon with her, so we'll do some fundraising for that, but that will be for her. It's going to be an amazing achievement, and she will do it. She's got the aim of trying to get around in 4 hours, so we've got a bit of training to do for that, I think.
4 hours is a good time.
It's a good time.
I haven't done a 4-hour marathon yet. But
so I think she just about squeezed the Manchester half this year in 2 hours, so it's going to be touch and go, so we're going to have to, and she's been injured as well, so we're starting again. so that'll be a massive achievement for her, but I've no doubt she'll get round it.
I'll hope that goes well, and anything we can do with sharing things or anything with that.
Thank you.
Anytime.
Thank you for that.
So I guess to kind of wrap up this part of the discussion, just kind of making it a little more generic about the way that running's helped you and like you say, sort of allowed you to be you. It's, I think something that people can take inspiration from, whatever they're struggling with. So thanks very much for sharing your story. I know it's not easy.
No, it's not, but it does help. Running does help me, so it's not for everybody, but I know often people say to me, no, I can't run. I just say everybody can run. You can just start from the beginning. You know, you can run if you want to do.
Yeah.
I'm a great believer in that.
Yeah, well, we are all built to run. So we've evolved to run. I think the people that say they can't run, it's actually completely true, because the reason they can't run is because they don't allow themselves to. That's why they can't. There's no physical reason. No. But yeah, I think sometimes it's one of the things I kind of give a lot of thought to, because one of the big aims of this podcast is to be inspirational and share stories to inspire different people. And one of the things that I've realised is, like for me, and probably similar for yourself, we're just looking at longer distances, want to go further, want to go longer, want to push the limits, and that isn't for everybody. I have friends that only run 10Ks on the road. They run them really, really fast, much faster than I could ever do. And they just want to go faster, want to go faster. And that's a completely different aim, and that's good, and that's healthy. It's good that we have different aims in the world. And something I've started to realise as well is that people don't need to follow the same path, and don't need to follow the same path at the same rate. So sometimes the first thing somebody needs, like I saw a brilliant campaign last year that some of the great people were pushing about, get outside for an hour every day. That's a great way to start for some people as well. It's for the likes of ourselves that might run outside for 2 hours every day, you think, well, that's nothing. But actually, there's a lot of people that aren't even outside for an hour, and it's. I think that's if people really find that they can't do, then just sometimes you need to take the small step.
It's very confidence, isn't it? Sometimes as well. People I know I speak to quite a lot of women who will say, well, we don't want people to see us, so I'll say, well, go out a bit earlier, go out, when it's a bit dark, as long as you're with somebody. It's just about having that confidence to get out, and people worrying about people looking at them, and I think that's it's a big thing with women. Really do get scared. At what people think. When I see runners, I just think I just everybody everybody admires me. And that's another reason why I enjoy the ultra runs, because I enjoy listening to why people run.
Yes.
I take a lot from that, listening to people's stories.
Yep. Yeah, I've got big gangly legs and bad hair and bad teeth. And, people shouldn't worry about what they're going to look like when they go running. They really shouldn't. But I understand that it is a big issue. We need to break down these barriers. Right. So I think we'll wrap things up there, Kim. Thank you so much for coming along and sharing your story. I'm really looking forward to hearing feedback from this. We'll get really good feedback from when people listening get inspired. So.
Okay, thank you. I've enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you for watching and listening. That was episode 15 with Kim Kennedy. Thank you so much to Kim for sharing that very heartfelt story there. And can I just please remind you, please like and share. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, and please look us up on iTunes, subscribe on iTunes, subscribe on Google Podcasts, and go over to YouTube and watch the videos on there as well, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and please share it with anybody who you think might be interested or who might be inspired by these stories. We're really putting these stories together, hoping to inspire others to find themselves, improve themselves, and we hope we can help you out there. We'd love to hear from you. You can email us at runningyourstories@gmail.com. Thank you very much. Goodbye.